Hey guys, Benjamin Albright, NFL Underground. I want to talk to you today about the Phantom Football Forum. Designed to give you greater access to me. You get the latest intel, insider information, rumors, news notes, injury information, Vegas lines, fantasy football, power rankings. Watch football games live with me. Phantom Football Forum. Only $1 for your first month if you sign up today. Facebook.com/WatchPhantom. Hit the link right here. Come join us today.
What's up, everybody? I'm ARI TEMKIN. Happy Friday. Isn't that what people say? That made me sound like a robot. Isn't that something normal that people would say? Happy Friday. Anyways, I'm ARI TEMKIN from 105.3 The Fan. A lot of stuff going on today. I was at practice yesterday. Was able to get in the Cowboys locker room after practice to get some insight on Travis Frederick, the mood of the team, and all that, all the happenings with that. So stay tuned for all that. Also, post your comments, hit the share button. This show is about you and your interaction. So interact with me. Give me your comments, your questions, your thoughts. What are you looking for at a Sunday night's game against Arizona? This is the quote-unquote dress rehearsal. Shout out to G. Garcia. It now tells me in the comments of the people commenting who shared this, so you cannot hide anymore. So shout out to G. Garcia. Said, what happened to Briscoe today? Gee, that's a great question. I don't know, and he was on the schedule. So Eric Koshaney says, hey, Ari, gave your show a huge shout-out on Cam Rogers' show today. Told the fans your show was lit. Thanks, man. Appreciate that, Eric. Thank you very much. That's awesome. That's really cool. Let me move back so I'm not cutting off the top of my head. Oh, sorry. And there I go again with the weird lighting. When you see me do this, you guys remember Jeff Hornacek used to have this thing with his wife where, like, when he did this at the free throw line, he'd be telling him he loved them. Do you guys remember that? Jeff Hornacek had this deal when he was with the Jazz in the finals, and anytime he was at the free throw line, he'd touch his face. And that was him saying hello to his family. So this is me saying hello to my family, but also because, like, when I've gone Terminator, and because the light hits me in a certain way that makes my, like, skin translucent, you'll know that I touch my face so that I don't go all translucent Terminator. Anyways, I'm ARI TEMKIN from 105 The Fan. You can catch me on the Cowboys pregame show with Jesse Holley. We're broadcasting live from AT&T Stadium. Sunday night, 4 o'clock on the pregame show starts. It's going to be a loaded show with a lot to get to this week, so make sure to make plans to listen on the Dallas Cowboys radio network or locally at 105.3 The Fan. And if you go to SeatGeek.com and use promo code PHANTOM, if you want to go to the game, you're going to find cheap tickets. This is the cheapest seat you're going to be able to get inside AT&T Stadium all year. So if you want to be there at some point this year, go to SeatGeek.com, use promo code PHANTOM, and you're going to get $20 off your first order. And here's the best part. You get $20 off your first order. Come on out to the West Plaza where we're going to be broadcasting live and say hello. I'd love to meet you all. And by the way, hit me up in the comments no matter where you're watching from, whether this is on the Law Nation 2.0 YouTube page, on the Phantom YouTube page, on the Phantom Facebook page, on the America's Team, Dallas Cowboys America's Team Facebook page, on the Big Game James page, on the Silver and Blue Nation page, the Law Nation page, the Dallas Cowboys Report page, the Dallas Cowboys Really Real fan page. No matter where you're watching, hit me up in the comments and tell me where you're watching this from. Love to find out where everybody's streaming from, and, of course, those that are local as well. So hit the share button, post your comments. What do you want to know? What are you looking for out of the game Sunday night? On the Dallas Cowboys America's Team page, Neil Favre says, what up, Ari? Some good news regarding the offensive line with Martin and Collins, saying they're definitely playing week one. Yeah, I mean, Lyle, I think, I was part of the scrum interviewing him in the locker room after practice yesterday, and it was, all precautionary with the taping of his ankle as he left practice early. Nothing to worry about there. And if you saw my Twitter on Monday, I tweeted a video of Zach Martin sort of limping around at practice on Monday. Well, yesterday I saw him in the locker room, and he was interviewed and was asked about Travis Frederick, and he wasn't limping at all. So within 4 days, basically, the limp had gone away. So certainly some good news and optimism there on Lyle Collins, and then, of course, Zach Martin. James Fuentes gives me the hard eyes. Hard eyes to you, James Fuentes. Says, go Cowboys. Curtis Starks, my brother Curtis Starks, says, I've been thinking, and it might be a good idea for the starters to just rest until opening day. What do you think? Well, that is most likely what we're going to see. I made the argument yesterday during this stream that they should play some of their starters, because even though, as Jerry Jones has alluded to, like it's not going to be the normal guys, there's a chance that this team could be forced to play with their backup linemen. With the bone bruise to Zach Martin, and again, I know he's fine and he's going to be ready to play week 1, but I mean, you take hits in an NFL game. So he plays week 1, how good will his knee be? And then after 2 weeks, how well will his knee hold up? So I think based on that and again, the reality that they could be playing, games this year without some of their main guys along their offensive line, like wouldn't it be better to see what they have in Kadeem Edwards and Joe Looney and get some familiarity with that first team? So the answer to the question, Curtis, is look, I'd like to see Dak Prescott play Sunday night, get some familiarity with that offensive line. I'd like to see Tyron Smith play Sunday night. I don't care about seeing Zeke Elliott. I'm fine with him not playing at all in the preseason. But it looks like the Cowboys have already made their decision and that they're not going to play any of their guys Sunday night against Arizona. Homer and Emma Ramirez says, how's Sanders and Johnson doing at the safety spot? Wow, you guys are just enamored with new names, huh? I mean, these are camp bodies. These are guys that a week from yesterday or a week from today are not going to be on the final roster. So, I mean, the safety spot lacks depth, and there's a new player that's now available, Obi Melifonwu, who was a second-round pick in last year's draft of the Oakland Raiders. He played in 5 games his rookie season, was on IR twice. He's more of a strong safety, a box safety. But again, a guy the Cowboys were particularly interested during the draft process. You wonder if the Cowboys will go after him. Dominic Sanders, it was an undrafted free agent who, again, lasted all the way until, now to find a roster. It doesn't speak very highly of him. Same with Deron Johnson, who was, I guess, coaching high school. So, these are just camp bodies, guys they had to bring in because they did numbers at this point. Tyree Robinson and Cam Kelly are the guys to be looking for, and both of those guys have seemingly had put in extra work, and have had decent practices this week. Nick Giggis says, you're electrifying. Thank you, Nick. Tommy Wheeler says, what do you think about our offense? I think there's a major concern now with their offensive line, with Travis Frederick having GBS. And, again, the assumption being on him that he's not going to be able to play at any point during this regular season. That's how the Cowboys have to operate. That he's not going to be able to available to play at all this season. And if he is, then that's great. That's extra. But again, I just think you have to assume he's not going to be available at any time this regular season. Then, of course, there's Zach Martin, who Monday was limping. Yesterday was not. He'll be ready to play September 9th. I have no doubt about that. But then there's not enough time between now and September 9th for him to get total rest for that bone bruise, right? It's not going to totally heal. So he'll play September 9th. We'll open him up for more wear and tear. Look, Zach Martin's a monster. He can play through injury. But it's something to watch for. There's going to be wear and tear over the course of this season that will affect Zach Martin, Tyron Smith too with his back. So the hope is that they can play. But their offense, and Tommy, to answer your question, the success for their offense this year is predicated on their offensive line and the health of their offensive line. JD Thompson says, YouTube free Joe Boo, hashtag YouTube free Joe Boo. Absolutely, hashtag YouTube free Joe Boo. My buddy Mark Holmes, who had his YouTube page shut down. The guy's awesome. A good friend of mine, partner at Phantom. So, yeah, hell yeah. YouTube free Joe Boo. It's ridiculous. They took him down. Mark Sullivan says, go get Earl Thomas. He's a difference maker, just like Charles Haley was. Yeah, and Mark, I don't know if you heard me in a previous stream, whether on 105 Through the Fan or on the Cowboys Beat podcast, which I host, which the new one just dropped today, by the way, so go check it out. But yeah, I likened the Earl Thomas potential acquisition to Charles Haley, and I have this entire offseason where they had a young team that was seemingly on the cusp of being dominant, and maybe the major difference there being I don't know that this team is the '90s Cowboys that are about to rattle off 3 consecutive Super Bowl champs, but I think difference maker, position of need, guy that's won Super Bowls, won championships. Earl Thomas is very much like Charles Haley insofar as he is a position of need, could fulfill a major position of need, and has the leadership piece, has won championships. So, yeah, I agree wholeheartedly. And Chris Bennett is asking for an Earl Thomas update, which I think he's joking. But, Chris, you're probably in better position to give me an Earl Thomas update because he's in Austin. So do you have an Earl Thomas update for me? Has he been working out? How's he been looking? Yeah, I don't know what the sticking point is. I know that the Cowboys last year, or during the draft, I should say, offered a second-round pick and then pulled it back to draft Connor Williams in the second round, who they wanted, which was ended up being, a very fortuitous move for them. They, I think, after the draft, then offered next year's third. I think the Seahawks said, "What about a second?" And the Cowboys scoffed at that. So I don't know if the Cowboys have gone back to the Seahawks and said, "All right, we'll go back to a second," and if the Seahawks are willing to do so. I've said multiple times, I'll continue to say it. If the asking price of Earl Thomas to get the job done today is a second-round pick, then that's a move the Cowboys have to make. And I said this yesterday. It has nothing to do with the safety and the injuries to the safety position. It has a lot to do with the injury and the availability of Travis Frederick. Because now you are counting on your offensive line, and now you're going to be without one of your most dynamic offensive line pieces. So now you have to overcompensate in a way on the defensive end, which looks to be vastly improved. James Fuentes says, "I love my boys" with a Z. Nice. Let's see here. Doris Coro says, "Hello, good looking." Doris, how are you? James Fuentes says, "I miss Dez." Well, I mean, just go follow him on Twitter. He's constantly on Twitter doing things. Anthony Donaldson's in the house. What's going on, Anthony Donaldson? That man does a lot of great work on the Dallas Cowboys. All right, Keith Batchelor says, "Is this defense going to be as good as they've looked in camp and preseason?" I believe so, but who knows? I mean, the front seven has looked very, very good. Front seven has looked very, very good, and even better because recently in practice, what we've seen is their starting defensive line is DeMarcus Lawrence at left end, Antoine Woods at the one technique. Then they've swung Tyrone Crawford back inside at the three technique, and then their right starting defensive end's Randy Gregory. That seems to be their best front four. And then with Jalen Smith and Sean Lee and Damian Wilson, I mean there's a lot of speed. I mean it looks legit, but as we've seen in years past, sometimes your eyes can deceive you from what you see in training camp and in the preseason. So, I mean, Keith, the ultimate answer to your question is we'll find out on September 9th, and we probably won't because the Cowboys should really be teeing off on that Carolina offensive line week one because Matt Khalil sucks, and he's their starting left tackle. And then two of their starting offensive tackles are already on IR. So, if the Cowboys don't get after the Panthers and put a lot of pressure on Cam Newton, I'm not going to say it's going to equal sacks because it's hard to sack Cam Newton. He's one of the hardest quarterbacks in the NFL to sack. But if they don't put pressure on him, then we'll know that this defense maybe isn't as legitimate as we thought it was in the preseason. But everything we've seen from training camp in the preseason, it follows a same pattern that is indicative that this team and this defense in particular will be pretty good. My cousin Brett Newman's checking in and says, "What's up from Spain? Will American football ever make the move overseas?" I don't know. You tell me. You spend more time in Spain than I do. I think it varies country to country. I mean, I think there's probably most interest in Europe in England, but I don't know. And I certainly think the NFL's future viability depends on their ability to expand beyond American markets. So, but I also think just like the NBA, when the Dream Team sort of opened up the eyes of young European, boys and girls to start playing basketball, you wonder what the catalyst is for that in football because football will be better if there's an influx of talent coming in from Spain and other parts of Europe, which at this point there's just not much of. All right, I want to check in on the Law Nation YouTube page, Law Nation 2.0, hashtag free YouTube free Jobu. Let's see here. Kevin Melton's in the house. Stevie Max in the house. Law Nation 2.0 is in the house as well. Let's see here. Rick Frederick says, "My thought is that if Frederick isn't back by midseason, his career's over." Disagree with that, dude. Because I brought this up yesterday on the stream if you missed it, but there was a Dallas Morning News article that came out yesterday that quoted a neurologist from Baylor Med Center in Dallas, and basically was saying, the question that he was asked is, through the recovery that Travis Frederick is going through right now, is it is it tough for him to get physical activity and the physical rigors of playing football? And basically the answer to that was, the quicker he resumes physical football activities, the more likely he is to either suffer a setback in recovery or open himself up to a greater possibility for a reoccurrence of the disease. So I said this yesterday, throw out this season. It seems like the quicker he's back, the more he could stunt his recovery and even worse, put himself in position to have a reoccurrence of this. At this point, it's just a this season problem. But the quicker you bring him back, now you run the risk of making this a next season and the season after that problem. And that's why, if you're the Cowboys, there's no need to rush him back. So, Rick, I just don't agree that if Frederick's not back by midseason, his career's over. I mean, all indications from the medical industry are that he'll make a full recovery and he'll be back. But the quicker he's back, the quicker his recovery goes, the more likely potentially he could have a setback within the recovery, and even worse, put himself in position to have another setback. Matthew says, hi, greetings from Leeds, UK. Well, there you go, Brett. Somebody's watching this and streaming this live from the UK. Do you agree with that, by the way, Matthew? Do you think that there's greater interest in American football in the UK than there is in probably any other countries across across Europe? Josh Skinner says, Obi Melifonwu released would be a great fit for our team and a gold mine for Chris Richard and much needed added depth. Why do you think he'd be a great fit? I mean, to me, he's another strong safety. He played 5 games his rookie year. He's got another injury right now. Here's the problem with Obi Melifonwu. And look, at this point, I mean, just bring in anybody that's not an undrafted free agent that's not finding a team if you're the Cowboys. I get that. But, I mean, how injured is he? And if you've got 53 roster spots, are you really willing to give one up for a guy that's just getting here now, has played in 5 games his rookie year, and, could take a roster spot up, but we're not even sure when he's going to see the field? So certainly he's got upside, having been a second-round pick in last year's draft. He was a combine superstar, but we're going to start to see a lot of names start to come out, especially as we get to a week from today when the final cutdowns happen, and you wonder if the Cowboys are probably holding out for then to really be able to pick through all these guys that get released and instead of just going on a one-off like a Georgia Loco or a Obi-Wan Kenobi. But we'll see what happens. Let's see here. Just trying to check in again. On all these, everybody's the YouTube comments and the Law Nation 2.0 YouTube page are coming fast and furious, so I'll try to get to everybody's or as many as I can. But Law is in the house as well. My buddy Lawrence Thomas, who does fantastic work. If you don't know who Law Nation is, go check him out on Facebook. Also, go check out the Law Nation 2.0 Facebook or YouTube page. So he's kind of helping me answer some of these questions as those, again, comments are coming fast and furious here along this program. Showtime. And that's what he said. There will be over 1,000 players to pick from when the final cuts happen. I mean, think about it. There are 90 players in a roster right now across 32 teams. A week from today, teams have to be down to 53. So every team is cutting 37 players. So 37 times 32. Do the math. That's how many players are going to be available. How many of those will be free safeties? A lot of the guys that are being released are not fits because they seem to be more strong safety, more in-the-box safety, point-of-attack kind of guys. Well, they have those. Jeff Heath and Kayvon Frazier. Those are probably they're easily their 2 best safeties. So, that's why they're sort of slow at this point. All right. Matthew says the problem is the time difference, but numbers of people watching live is increasing. Great point. He's talking about Europe and why it hasn't expanded as much there. For me, if from a football viability long-term standpoint, you'd hope that there's enough interest that when you talk about 5, 6, 7-year-olds, what kind of sports are they playing? And in Europe, it's soccer, right? In the UK, it might be cricket also, but probably not. But it's soccer. So the question is, how many, over the next decade, how many of those 5, 6, 7-year-olds in the UK and throughout Europe start transitioning to playing football? Because that's what's needed. And Law Nation did the math for me. Literally, 37 times 32, 1,184. Thank you, brother. 1,184 players are about to be looking for jobs a week from today. So that's when the Cowboys are going to be signing safeties. And if not, then what in God's name are they doing? They have Cam Kelly in free right now. He might he missed an easy pick. Stevie Mack says, but I don't want to do the math. I hate math. Agreed. I got into sports because I didn't want to do math, and then I found out something very important, which is there's no industry in the world that there's really nothing you can do in anything that's not involving math. All right. I'm Ari Temkin from 105.3 The Fan. I stream every day right here on Phantom and across multiple platforms and channels. Make sure to hit the share button if you're watching this on Facebook. And by the way, now Facebook tells me who shares, so I can see all you folks who are and are not sharing. So hit the share button if you wouldn't mind. Also, if you're watching this on YouTube, thank you to Law Nation for making sure you're keeping up with all the comments there on the Law Nation 2.0 YouTube page. Also, make sure to go over the Phantom page at YouTube. Search Watch Phantom, Phantom, and subscribe to our Phantom YouTube page there. Checking in now on Big Game James. Big Game James does fantastic work. Check him out on Facebook and YouTube across the Big Game James page as well as the Silver and Blue Nation page. Jermaine Mayberry says, how's the new safety looking? I answered that question. They're camp bodies, and there's over 1,000 players that are about to be released a week from today. So Dominic Sanders, Jerron Johnson, they're here for a week plus. They'll play a meaningful role in preseason week number 4 and then get cut a week from today. Juan Madrid gives me the hi. Hi, Juan. How are you? Ruben Perez says, what's up, Ari? What are your thoughts on how the Cowboys will do this year? I say go get Earl Thomas. What do you think we should? What do you think should we get Earl Thomas? Yes, I've predicted them to go 10-6, but I'm not as optimistic on that 10-6 as I once was because of the issues along their offensive line. I like Looney. What's a great elite jersey I should get? You mean a player? Dro Garcia's from Bakersfield, California, wants to know what Cowboys jersey he should get. Can't go wrong with the Zach Martin jersey. I'm of the belief that you should only get players that won like a guy like Zach Martin, who you know is going to play for the Cowboys forever, right? Or just get former players, like get legendary player jerseys. Get a Staubach, get an Aikman, get a Emmitt Smith. Like that's my feeling on jerseys, is because it's the worst to have a jersey for a guy that's like really good now, but then doesn't end up playing his whole career for the Cowboys, and then you're stuck with like a Miles Austin jersey, you know? That kind of thing. Don't be short-sighted when it comes to buying jerseys. That's my only advice to you. All right, checking now in on the Dallas Cowboys America's team page. James Fuentes says, I miss Texas Stadium. Keith Batchelor says, it's not a Super Bowl year for us anyway. The Beard just needs to take a year off and get himself right. Well, I mean, I don't disagree that it's not a Super Bowl year for the Cowboys, but I also think, like, it's a big year for the Cowboys and the coaching staff. And, you know, I'm of the belief that the Cowboys need to make the playoffs in order for Jason Garrett to keep his job, regardless of any other circumstances. And I brought this up yesterday. It's a big part of my podcast, The Cowboys Beat, which you should be downloading, subscribing to, please. So, I mean, I think, you know, whatever excuses the Cowboys can come up with this year for not making the playoffs, to me, none of those excuses matter when it comes to the future of Jason Garrett. And there is even a quote from Jerry Jones, who does bi-weekly visits on 105.3 The Fan, and his quote was, let me see if I could find it here real quickly. His quote was that he thinks the Cowboys coaches will do a better job adjusting to the loss of Travis Frederick than they did when Tyron Smith was out last year. Quote, that was a mess-up last year, to say the least. We didn't adjust. We don't want to have another Atlanta happen to us. And to me, that puts it squarely on Jason Garrett, because it's basically like, we didn't adjust last year. That problem's not going to happen this year. And if it does, the adjustment to playing without Travis Frederick, then we're not going to see Jason Garrett here much longer. That's the way I took it. Maybe it's not the way everybody else took it, but it's the way that I took it. Neil Favre stuck with the Miles Austin jersey. He was the first name I could think of when it comes to, like, who was in the moment a great player and a great jersey to have, that, like, now you're like, oh, why do I have a Miles Austin jersey? Which, that's why either get like a Zach Martin, like, don't get Zeke Elliott. That's because I don't know if Zeke Elliott's gonna be with the Cowboys forever. But either get like a either get a legendary player that is played his entire career for the Cowboys. And by the way, Emmitt Smith played his entire career for the Cowboys. We all know that. Nobody's going to disagree on that. A legendary player or somebody that you think will play their entire career, like Sean Lee. Get a Sean Lee jersey, or a Zach Martin, or a Tyron Smith. Who else are locks like that? I'm not sure. Maybe Jalen Smith. Maybe. Check back with me on that. Nick Gigas says, let's say Cowboys finish 8-8. Will Garrett still remain? No, I don't think so. And he shouldn't be. Richard Naylor gives me the hard eyes emoji. This is always my hard eyes emoji. Hard eyes emoji. If Jason Job depends on us making the playoffs, then it's even more reason for Travis Frederick to take the year off. LOL. From Keith Batchelor. Nice. Yeah, I mean, the answer to your question, Nick, in my opinion, is if they go 8-8, then Jason Garrett should lose his job. I mean, I just don't like. I think he's above 500 with his career coaching record with the Cowboys. Great. He's got 1 playoff win, two playoff wins. I think he's like 1-2 in the playoffs. I mean, that can't be good enough to keep your job after basically a decade of being in your job. Jessica Haggerty's checking in on the Silver and Blue Nation page. Says I want to be now, y'all doubters will see. I'm tired of all the negative. Okay. What about realism? There's optimism, there's pessimism, and there's realism. So I mean, to be realistic and to take a unbiased view of this team it's not hating. I mean, if you've watched my stream, I've been referred to as a placater to the Cowboys fans. Wade Zetterberg, who's no longer watching my stream anymore because he thinks I placate too much, called me a placater. So on the one hand, it's like, oh, all you do is talk glowingly about the Cowboys. You're basically a homer. And then there's like you're being too negative. So I think, at the end of the day, I'm just going to look at this team and give you my honest assessment of them, whether you think that's hating or loving, whatever it is what it is. Eric Kashani says, where do you go for Cowboys Beat? I've posted a link to it on my Facebook page and Twitter account. Also, if you have an iPhone, just go to the podcast app. Or if you don't, Stitcher, wherever you download podcasts, just search Cowboys Beat. And while you're there, by the way, subscribe to the Cowboys Beat. And then also, please, rate it. Give me a rating on the podcast, because that really helps. Because the more ratings the podcast has, if somebody then searches Cowboys, the highest, the podcast with the most ratings will have the highest, searchability. So please help me do that. All right, check it out on the Dallas Cowboys report page. And by the way, as I sort of scroll through all these pages, reminder to make sure to like and subscribe to all these pages, partners of ours here at Phantom that are helping us spread the gospel, if you will. Then there's also my, not my personal page, but my ARI TEMKIN radio page, which I never check the comments on, but I should more often. And let's see here. Anthony Donaldson's in the house there. Anthony Donaldson. Adam Mancuda says, bubble wrap the entire O-line. Then he also asks, can Michael Gallup fill the Dez shoes? No peak level, but solid contributor, red zone, and weapon. Well, yeah. I mean, fill Dez's shoes, I don't know, but he's their best receiver. From training camp, the first 2 preseason games, Michael Gallup is the Cowboys' best receiver. He runs the best routes. He's got the best measurables. He's the guy that's going to be their number one, if you will. I still think there's a chance Cole Beasley leads this team in targets and receptions and yards, but Gallup's going to be there. To me, Gallup's the guy you have to own in fantasy football. All right, let's see here. Anthony Donaldson's also checking out. Anthony Donaldson says, being a homer is not bad. I'm pure elite diehard Cowboy, loyal to the star, period. My intelligence never goes off. I never deny reality, but star always. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. I'm just saying I'm not going to give you sunshine and rainbows all the time. I'm going to plainly give you my opinions on the Cowboys as I see it. And I'm at practice. I'm in the locker room. I'm at games. So that's what I'm going to do. And no, I mean, if you're a fan of the team and you're a homer, that's fine. That's perfectly fine. Eric Kashani says, how many losses would it take to jump ship on Garrett in the middle of the season? I mean, it would probably have to be like a Wade Phillips level of stinkitude. I mean, Jerry famously said he doesn't fire coaches in year, but then Wade Phillips went like what was it, like 1-10 or whatever it was, or 0-10. What, I can't remember what it was. But I mean, the last time he fired a coach was in season, so it would basically have to be on that level. And even then, I don't know that he would. But I mean, there's too much talent here for this thing to go that south. Like, there's too much talent here on this Cowboys roster for the team to be that bad. Although I guess you could make the same case. The same thing happened during that Wade Phillips fired season. So, so maybe it could, because that was the whole deal, right? Like, they were talented and they were thought to be a playoff team, and so I mean it's kind of interesting, right? But I still think this team has significantly more talent than that team did. Plus, Romo got hurt, right? Didn't Romo get hurt that year? You're right. I like Gallup, but I'm a Beasley guy. I mean, that's from Anthony Donaldson on the ARI Temkin radio page. I mean, when I've been asked throughout this offseason who I think is going to be their number one, first it's like, well, what does that mean? So far, the guy they've gone to on third and must-have has been Gallup. I figured it would be Beasley, but it's been Gallup. You look at their touchdown drive last week of the preseason, they had 2 third downs. I think it was like 3rd and 4 and 3rd and 5. And they went to Gallup and completed both of those passes. So to me, that's a number one. Like, the team knows, hey, they're going to go to this guy, and they still go to him and complete the pass. That's your number one. So, and I think that's going to be Gallup this year. But I love Beasley, and I think Beasley's really, really important for their success this year. Because you look at their 13-3 season, and Beasley was great. You look at last year, Beasley was not. Joshua Skinner on the Law Nation Facebook page says Obi was released. Pick him up. Josh, I brought this up earlier. No. I mean, I would have rather them go out and, like, why not sign George Aloka? He's a better fit, a better player, and more available, and he only signed for like $800,000. So, like, money shouldn't have been the issue. I'm of the belief the Cowboys will be active in free agency a week from today when there's, what is it, Law? 1,100 players become available. 37 players about to be cut a week from today across 32 teams. So, like, that's why they haven't signed George Aloka. That's why they're not going to sign Obi-Wan Kenobi. They want their pick of the litter, and I think, like, those guys are all true strong safeties. So, my feeling is they're going to be looking for true free safeties because that's what they have a need at. They've got Kayvon Frazier. They've got their box safeties already. Medea Alston gives me the thumbs up. Thumbs up. Eric Kashani says, I'm Android. Wherever, I don't know what the podcast app is on a non-iPhone, but whatever it is, they have an app. It might be Stitcher or Podbean or one of them. I don't know. But just go to whatever app you have that downloads podcasts and search Cowboys Beat. Thank you for doing that. Keegan Colton says Frederick's done this season, at least for the regular season. Timmy Mooney says put him on IR this year, move on. I think they'll put him on short-term IR. I'd be surprised if they didn't to start the year. They probably should, which then gives him, the availability to come back. But I said I believe the best move would be for the Cowboys to not have Travis Frederick at all this year. That's how they need to plan for, but we'll see if that happens. Robert Holm is checking in, my buddy Robert Holm, who is an everyday watcher of this stream. Become, like Robert Holm, an everyday watcher of this stream. G. Garcia, Eric Kashani, Chris Bennett, Robert Holm, Curtis Starks, Joe Tranchina. We got a lot of folks that join this stream every day, and now I'm going back to the YouTube page for Law Nation 2.0, but there's people over there that are loyal to these streams as well. So thank you to all those folks who are at this stream every day, active, communicating. Keith Batchelor's another one of those guys. He got mad at me yesterday, but I'm glad to see he's back. So thank you all to your participation, your interactivity. This show works because of you. And, I hosted a radio show in San Antonio for 6 years, a radio show in Austin for 2 years. Now I'm in Dallas. This is the most interactive show I've ever done, and I love it. It just gives you the point to interact in real time with people. I mean, it's like we're having we're talking, we're having a discussion. And the best part is it's a huge group of people, and not everybody's screaming, right? Like it's like we all get to kind of discuss what everybody's talking about. Tyler Cutright's another guy that watches every day. What up, Tyler Cutright? How are you, buddy? The U watches every day across the YouTube Law Nation 2.0 page. Let's see here. Law Nation says I got to go get ready for a business meeting at 1 o'clock. Salute. Salute, brother. Go check out Law Nation 2.0 if you're not already on YouTube, and of course, the Law Nation page on Facebook. Law Nation does unbelievably great work and is one of our partners here at Phantom. Let's see here. Salute, Law. J Farm D says, LOL, Zeke just broke off a long run and D-Law was chasing him step for step, LOL. Yeah, right now the open practice session's going on. That was what I missed yesterday for this stream, and then I went out for their media availability in the locker room after. I'm not going to be going out today because I'm not going to be able to. And I believe I was told that their final training camp practice will be Tuesday. So that'll be their final, open availability. But, I'll be able to go to practice all year to give you the insight that you crave on the Dallas Cowboys. Hit the share button. Post your comments. Rick Federick says Rod Smith has surprised me with his patience hitting the hole. Yeah, Rod Smith is good. Like the Cowboys running backs suddenly are really, really good. When you look at Rod Smith, I love what I've seen from Bo Scarborough in training camp and in the preseason. Some of the question marks I had with him coming in, he's answered the bell on. He played special teams. He's run hard. He's caught the ball out of the backfield. He's caught the ball lined up outside. So, there's your three running backs, and then my assumption is they're going to keep Jameis Olawale as a fullback. So, but you've got to feel good about what you have in the running game with those three guys. Ari, how many losses would it take starting out before we pull? Eric, why are you? The season hasn't even started yet, Eric, and you're already how many losses do we have to have? Eric Kashady is not much of a Jason Garrett fan. He's basically asking me how bad do they have to be before they, do you want your season to be over before it starts? Because I don't think that would be fun. All right, let me just check in across all of these pages, make sure I'm addressing what everybody's commenting on. Just a heads up, by the way, the way this thing works is I've got an iPad on the Phantom Facebook page. So best way to comment on this stream or any of my streams is to go to facebook.com/watch Phantom and watch the stream there. Now, we're thankful for all of our great partners across all these different platforms that are cross-posting and sharing these streams to their pages to help us, grow this audience. So thanks to them. But I basically have to go through all these Facebook pages over to YouTube, the YouTube pages, so it's a lot of going back and forth. So, the best way to interact and to get your comments heard in real time is through the Phantom page at facebook.com/watch Phantom. Again, I will be checking in on all these different pages, but the quickest and best way to interact is across the Facebook platform. Also, if you wouldn't mind, hit the share button. Post your comments, all that great stuff. Really appreciate everybody's participation in the stream every day. Again, I can't do it without you guys. Let's see here. We're still getting the Jimmy Johnson comments, huh? Joe Tranchina says, I'll be here unless I'm dead. Well, then I'm going to be worried about you one day, Joe, if I don't see you in here. So you've got to hit me up on, send me a Facebook message. Just hey, I'm not going to be on the stream today, and I'm not dead. Because, otherwise, if you're not here, then I'm going to be freaking out, buddy. Just curious. I don't know. They have to go 0-10. What was it? What did they go the year that Wade Phillips got fired? I can't remember. Was it 1-13? Is that what it was? That's what they have to go. 1-10? Is that what it was? That's what they have to go for them to fire Jason Garrett. Marcus Turner on the Dallas Cowboys America's team page asks if Chaz Green's going to make the cut. No, he's not going to make the roster. Chaz Green is not going to make this team. Jay Hood in the house says, go White Sox. What up, Jay Hood? I've got my White Sox shirt on today. It's not really a White Sox shirt, but it's White Sox colors. Mary Kopechmus. Although, Jay Hood, did I hear that he had some racist, homophobic tweets or something? Michael Kopech? That's not good. I didn't see what it was, but I did see a post about that. Wade Zetterberg in the house. Wade, I thought I'd never see you again. Good to see you, buddy. Johnny Kaz says, looks like Johnny Cash. Johnny Kaz says, wake Jerry the F up and go get Earl at that second. You'll not find a better player with that pick. I agree. That's why I don't know if the holdup is, he says yes. Unbelievable. I have to go find what the tweet was. Was it recent or was this one of those older tweets that resurfaced? Either way, it doesn't make it better. I'm just curious. I don't know if the holdup with Earl Thomas is the Cowboys not giving up a second-round pick or if it's the Seahawks. Not a great look. Not a great look at all. Mamma mia. James Fuentes says, go Dodgers. Dean Lockey says, let's do this, Cowboys. So, yes, again, just to reiterate, I like, this might be out of the Cowboys' hands. Like, the Cowboys may have very well called up the Seahawks and been like, hey, we're willing to do a second. And the Seahawks could very well have said, no, we're not going to be willing to do that trade anymore. So, I'm not sure. Like, I can't remember what coach I heard was talking about this, but he was basically saying, like, one year there was a guy that, like, said he wanted to go to one team, and they were basically completely and utterly unwilling to trade him to that team. So, like, that could be another thing, too. Like, Seattle might be willing to trade Earl Thomas right now to a second-round pick to an AFC team or to another NFC team, but they might be like, there is a 0% chance we're going to be playing, sending him to the Dallas Cowboys, which, like, that could very well be the case. So I don't necessarily think this is all on the Cowboys. It might be. It might be, and maybe we'll never know the truth of it. But, again, if it's as simple as the Cowboys picking up the phone and offering a second-round pick for Earl Thomas, then go get Earl Thomas. But if it's out of their hands, then there's nothing they can do about it. Jay Hood says when he was 17 or 18, racist and homophobic tweets. Just go delete your Twitter. I don't understand this. If you're a famous athlete, just delete your Twitter and start over. Like, it's not like Michael Kopech couldn't go back and get all those Twitter followers back. Like, just delete your Twitter and start over. Or don't, and then be exposed for saying racist and homophobic things. Either way. All right, I'm Ari Temkin. This is Showtime. We're live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch across the Phantom platform and all of our partners. Appreciate everybody being a part of today's stream and every day's stream. He says, sweet, but you bet your job is a blast. It is a blast, especially my first radio job in Moberly, Missouri, which paid me about $15,000 a year to work 12, 13, 14-hour days. But that's just to say, and Jay Hood knows this working in radio, like, you have to work and pay your dues and work and pay your dues and make no money and work horrible hours. And it's a grind, man. I mean, it's, you don't just get handed, great time slots in big cities. It's like, I'll always, like, meet people and are like, oh, you do sports talk radio? That's awesome. Like, how'd you get that job? And it's like, well, it's just like any other job, except a lot harder. And I don't mean that to, like, show off. I just mean, like, in any job, you have to work your way up, in any job. No matter what you do, you have to work your way up. But even more so in this job, because you work your way up, and even then there's no guarantees. Tyler Cutright says, do you feel Dak should play this week to build more with Looney? I mean, I talked about this yesterday, and it's not just Looney. Like, there's a concern over Zach Martin. And, I mentioned this. Monday, Zach Martin was limping. Yesterday, when I saw him in the locker room, he wasn't limping. So that's a good sign. In 4 days, he's no longer limping. Great sign. But, I mean, he's got a bone bruise in his knee. We don't know how severe it is. And so, like, immediately when he plays September 9th, he's going to re-aggravate that injury. He's not going to be healthy this entire year because there's not enough rest between now and the start of the season to where he can fully heal. So I think in that vein, like Kadeem Edwards, he's probably going to be starting at right guard. So, I mean, what we're probably going to be seeing on Sunday night is their left tackles Cam Fleming, their left guards Connor Williams, their centers Joe Looney, their right guards Kadeem Edwards, and the right tackles Lyle Collins. And the Cowboys are saying, well, we're not going to put Dak and Zeke behind that porous offensive line. What happens if that what you're calling porous offensive line becomes your starting offensive line? Don't you want there to be some familiarity with those guys and Dak Prescott? And maybe it's not even just like the getting the snaps thing, but to me it's the mentality of it all, like the psychology of it all, like the it's like what Bill Parcells used to do, which is, they would go through these really obscure, weird situations in practice so that there was some familiarity. Psychologically, the team knew, we practiced this. So there's this comfortability with it. And I think that psychological piece is really important. But I don't think the Cowboys are going to play Dak on Sunday night. And I don't think they're going to play Zeke. I don't think Tyron Smith is going to play. So do I think they should? Yes. Will they? No. Terry Turner says, now we need to find a backup center quickly. This is on the Dallas Cowboys or the Big Game James page, which I was just checking in on. Well, their backup center is Joe Looney. And there are very few teams in the NFL that has a legitimate backup center. There are very few teams in the NFL that have like a legit good starting five on their offensive line, right? I mean, there are very few really good offensive lines, okay? So there are even fewer teams that have good backups. So Cowboys have 2 viable backups, at least, in Joe Looney and Cam Fleming, and maybe Kadeem Edwards, too. So it's just very, very difficult to have quality backups across the offensive line because it's really difficult to have a really good offensive line. You know, there's just very few teams that have a really good offensive line. So, you know, and the Cowboys are fortunate that they invested what they have this offseason into their offensive line. I mean, they brought in Cam Fleming to improve their swing tackle position. They drafted Connor Williams in the 2nd round. And, you know, now it looks like a stroke of genius when it comes to those moves in particular. James Fuentes says, I'll see you Sunday at Cowboy Stadium. James, come by the West Plaza before the game and say hello to me. I'll be broadcasting live. The pregame show on the Dallas Cowboys radio network starts at 4. So we'll be out there from 4 to 7. Sunday night at AT&T Stadium, the West Plaza. So make sure to come by and say hello. Everybody loves Jesse Holly, so if you don't want to say hi to me, just come say hi to Jesse Holly. Let's see here. Siaki Anti-Ne'a. Hope I'm saying that right. We are them boys all day, everybody. All right. Marcus Turner says Connor Williams has got to get stronger. He's being pushed back into the backfield way too many times. Do you think this hits technique is the reason he's being pushed around? Marcus, I'll be honest. I mean, we saw DeForest Buckner push him into the backfield and have a sack the first possession of the first preseason game, but I thought overall Connor Williams has looked good this preseason and in training camp. He's had times where he's been overmatched, but the majority of snaps he's taken, he's looked pretty good. I mean, I agree he's got to bulk up, but that's just he's just not going to, put on all this muscle within, his rookie year. I mean, go look at pictures of Jason Witten his rookie year. I mean, it's going to take a few years for him to kind of grow into his NFL body, and maybe long term they'll look at Connor Williams as bulking up and becoming the future left tackle because that's what he played at Texas. But I mean, I think from what we've seen from him already, he looked pretty good. And especially now when you look at that offensive line, it's like, oh gosh, there could be a lot of issues there. Let's see here, what else we got going on today. By the way, I'm the only live show today on the Phantom Network. There was no flyover before me. There's no noon o'clock after me. So, but we've got huge things in the work and a big time show that we've got that will be premiering a week from today. So, cannot give you more details on that quite yet, but very excited about a project we're working on here at Phantom, a fantasy football type show that will premiere a week from today on this network. Not on this network, I should say, but on a much larger platform. So we're very, very excited about that. Let's see here. Just want to make sure I'm checking in on the Law Nation 2.0 YouTube page. And shout out to everybody watching over there. Again, it's very difficult to try to navigate all the different pages and platforms that we're on. I see you, Filthy in Philadelphia. I see you, buddy. Filthy in Philadelphia says hashtag Fly Eagles Fly with the open smile face. We'll see you. We'll see you later, Filthy. Yeah, Scorpio76688 says Connor Williams will get more buffed. Give him 3 years, he'll be a beast. I agree. I mean, you're just not going to see the type of muscle growth within a few months. Like you look at Jason Witten his rookie year. I mean, these guys bulk up. They take a few years to bulk up. And there's no different along. Like guys like Zach Martin and Travis Frederick. Like that's not the norm. It's not the norm to have a guy come in and automatically be all pro his rookie year. Josh Skinner says, cry, Eagles, cry. Fair point. Rick Federick says, Noah getting 50 yards receiving tonight. Let's see here. My Cowboys family says, Gallup, Hearns, Beasley, T. Will, Tavon, and either Thompson, Lenore, and or Noah Brown. Right, exactly. Gallup, Hearns, Beasley, T. Will, Tavon Austin. Those are your locks, and then either one of Thompson, Lenore, and or Noah Brown. By the way, Lance Lenore is a guest on the Cowboys Beat podcast, which again drops every single Friday morning. So if you haven't yet already checked out my podcast, do so now. You can find a link to it on my Twitter account at ARI Sports, or subscribe. Wherever you download podcasts, search Cowboys Beat, and this week I have Lance Lenore and Kadeem Edwards, who Kadeem Edwards could play a huge, significant role for the Dallas Cowboys this season across their offensive line. So he's a guy that Brian Broaddus is saying Like if they keep 8 offensive linemen, the 8th could be Kadeem Edwards. If they keep 9, the 8th will be Kadeem Edwards, and the 9th would be somebody from outside the organization. So, like, if you're looking for offensive linemen that are going to make this team, it's basically the offensive linemen plus Cam Fleming and Joe Looney, and then the 8th would be either Kadeem Edwards or somebody outside the organization, or then 8 would be Kadeem Edwards, and the 9th would be somebody else from outside the organization. So, again, check out the podcast, The Cowboys Beat, and then make sure to check out our sponsor, SeatGeek. If you want to go to the game on Sunday night, go to SeatGeek.com. Use promo code Phantom. You're going to get $20 off your first order. So SeatGeek.com. Appreciate our partnership and collaboration with SeatGeek. And, again, if you like what we're doing here at Phantom, support our sponsors. Make sure to support our sponsors and what they're helping us do here at Phantom to grow our product and continue to do more and more all the time here. And then, of course, I also want to thank our second sponsor, which is let's see here if I can get them to show up, which is, there we go, BetDSI. Boom, just like that. It's only a game until you bet. Go to betdsi.com now and place your bets there. Whether you want to bet on preseason games, you want to bet on NFL futures bets, you want to bet on baseball, whatever it is. And here's the best part. You go to betdsi.com now, use promo code Phantom. They're going to match your deposit up to $100 or up to $2,500. So betdsi.com. Now there's a shouting match between the Philly fans and all the Cowboys fans and the Phantom page. Filthy and Philly just coming in the stream and stirring up the pot a little bit. All right, so go to betdsi.com, use promo code Phantom, and they're going to match your initial deposit up to $2,500, 100% up to $2,500. So you deposit $1,000. BetDSI gives you a free $1,000 to play with. So go to betdsi.com, use promo code Phantom, and help us keep the lights on here at Phantom. All right, thank you all for being a part of today's stream. I'm back Monday. Again, check out the Cowboys Beat podcast, which dropped today. It features Lance Lenore and Kadeem Edwards. Make sure to check me out on the Dallas Cowboys pre- and post-game show Sunday night at AT&T Stadium. If you're at AT&T Stadium, come say hello to me at the West Plaza. Otherwise, check it out along 105 through the Fan or along the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network. I'll talk to you all on Monday. We'll have a lot to talk about reacting to that.